And we are live. What's good, Josh? Your man, DL Saint. Welcome. The DL Saint, I Really Want to Know podcast. How y'all feeling out there? How y'all feeling? Good to see y'all. Thanks for coming back. We were on earlier talking about taxes, talking about maybe doing taxes different. And I tell you what, we're gonna revisit that on Downrange Podcast, y'all. We're gonna revisit that. That conversation is not over. I'm already reaching out, trying to get a hold of some experts, some bean counters, some people who can really explain that, like what's going on and all that good stuff. So yeah, thanks for coming back. And now we're gonna talk a little bit about child support. We're gonna talk about should misappropriation of child support be a crime? I know we're going to get a lot of people in on this topic right here, y'all, so I am definitely ready. We got Casual Germ in the house. Was good, fam. Give you that and a horn blast. You know what I mean? That's for Casual Germ in here first. You know what I mean? So we're going to... Sister Candace is in the house. What's good, love? Always good to see you. Good evening to you. You know what I mean? On both episodes, thanks for coming through. Brother Mike's in the house. What's good, fam? Always a pleasure to see you. I hope you are well. This topic, man, always gets people to come out. I mean, let's face it, man. The way our family court system works, the way we're handling child support and all that it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And something's going to give. It's going to change eventually. It's going to change. You know what I mean? Brother Jose's in the house. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. It's definitely going to change. But it hasn't changed yet. There's a slow, very slow shift. And it's basically judges having to, step up and do what they feel to be right, or their interpretation of the law or whatever. But we need elected officials to do their thing and actually change the way we do business. Until then, it's going to be what it is right now. It is what it is. That's just how it works. So yeah, before we get started, man, shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to Suzette Speaks. I was talking to her earlier today. And she's, she was telling me what she got planned for this week. Y'all, I'm telling you, I need to be over there checking her out, support her. Shout out to Melanie King. She's going to be on in a couple hours, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. She has a pretty good topic. Shout out to Rich Cooper. I was on Unplugged Alpha last night. He had a good topic going on. He was basically asking, he had a scenario, like if you had a woman who was married with kids, and maybe had a body count of 2, was married, and then got divorced or widowed, but she had the kid, single mom, and then she had her identical twin, who was out partying, no kids, but had a body count of 50. Which one would you choose for a long-term relationship? And I gave my 2 cents in on that. Check that out. That's on Unplugged Alpha. That was on yesterday. Really good show. And then I was also on Hink in the Basement. Hink, brother out of Kentucky, man, real wise brother. You know what I mean? Giving us that good down south, good old fashioned old sense. So check out brother Hink in the Basement. We were talking about everything we started out talking about football. We were talking about music. We were talking about social issues in the hood, being like gangsterism. And we talked a little bit about politics. So go over there and check out brother Hink. He's not monetized at all. Please go over there, Hink in the Basement. If any of the mods can find that link and put it in the chat for me, I would appreciate it. We definitely want to support that brother. Brother Dusto's in the house. Cody is king in the house. And boom, we got Miss AKA Lady with the $20 super chat. Was good, monetized. I completely missed this. Yes, cheers to you, DL. Congrats. Thank you so much, love. We are monetized. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And just know that every dime you donate goes to the Hookers and Cocaine Fund. We're going to make sure we do it up right now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The money goes right back into the platform. We got big plans, and we're going to just continue to grow. With everyone's support, we are going to continue to grow. Day ones, me and Miss AKA Lady, you were definitely one of you might be the number one day one. coming over from Suzette Speaks platform. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Brother Jason's in the house. What's good, fam? Pleasure to see you. Brother Jose, you know I'm always trying to crack them jokes every now and again. Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to crack them jokes. But yeah, we are definitely monetized. And we're moving forward and making it happen. This is definitely going to be a good show. I do intend to drop the link on this one. I would love to get some other opinions on what we're going to be talking about here with reference to child support and mishandling of child support and stuff like that. We got a few things lined up, a couple articles and some information we definitely want to share. Let's see in the chat, Miss AKA Lady, shout out to the 304 fund. Yeah, maybe you could pay for some more female guests. Hey, you'd be surprised. Trying to pay guests to come on isn't even working. I mean, I just got to keep hustling, yo. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I just got to keep hustling. We're going to get some more female guests up here. I do have some friends of mine, well, associates who are in the exotic dancing world who have agreed to come on to the show, but it's always a problem with scheduling. And then I have some fresh and fit fan favorites who are definitely interested in doing the platform. But again, this is the issue with scheduling. In fact, I have to go to Miami this weekend. Something came up and I have to fly down Friday. We have to take care of some things. Nothing bad, y'all. Nothing bad. It's good. It's just business stuff. I got to go down there and take care of some stuff. So I'm actually going to be in Miami this weekend, and I'll definitely be reaching out to some people, trying to get them to do the platform. Maybe I'll be able to just do a quick short. We'll see. But you know what I mean? Shout out to Slow Jams. My people down there, Slow Jams holding it down. Check out Slow Jams on her YouTube page as well. Young artist out here making it happen. And she has talent. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. She got some talent. As far as these young rappers go, I put her right there in the mix with the best. You know, her freestyle skills are crazy. We got a video of her freestyling when we were coming back from the Fresh and Fit 1 Million party. We was rolling deep, and it's a couple videos out there of her doing that. So check out her Instagram, check out her YouTube. Support that sister, man. She really trying to make it happen. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're about to get into this, man. Let's talk about this, yo. We're just child support thing, yo. So I guess we should start from the beginning, man. Like, what is child support? So I have a screen up here, and yeah, let's talk about what this is and what's it for and what all the good stuff. Let me go back one. There we go. So here it is, and this is from divorcenet.com, probably lawyers. And a lot of this information, I just go and I see what I can find. You know, I try to get stuff that we're familiar with, but there's child support is a state thing. It's federally mandated, but it's really handled by the states. They do follow guidelines and stuff like that, but every state is a little different. So this is I'm not going to read this whole article, but this is what I found on divorcenet.com, what child support can and cannot be used for. So like I just wanted to cover the first few paragraphs. The purpose of child support is to ensure that both parents, regardless of their relationship with each other, financially support their children to the best of their ability. Although child support money belongs to the child, it's the responsibility of the custodial parent to use the funds to provide for the child's needs. That part right there, I wonder if that's every state. So the child support money actually belongs to the child who's a minor, and the custodial parent is basically placed in charge of those funds. This is interesting. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in that field at all. But being in a union, being a federal employee and air traffic controller, words mean a lot. And that's the one thing you do, as a union guy, you sit there and management and union are looking at the same set of rules, and those words, right? Those words mean what they mean. The child support money belongs to the child. Wow. All right. Custodial parents have a lot of flexibility in how they can use the money, but there are some basic ways that child support should and should not be spent. So right off rip. So here's the scenario. Let's say that, y'all seen the stuff with Master P and his son and 50 Cent and his son about, not getting money, or my parents taking away money, like Romeo in Master P's case. Well, I was making all this money and my dad took the money. And then, of course, Master P had to come out and prove how Romeo didn't make a dime. In fact, he was losing money even on his best project. And then you have 50 Cent's son who's coming out like, well, I'm only getting paid this much, like, whatever it was. I forget how much it was, but $5,000-$6,000 a year. I mean, a month. I'm getting $5,000-$6,000 a month, and that's not nearly what I should be getting because you successful and you have money. So we got these kids who are feeling extremely entitled. Extremely entitled. How long before some of these kids start suing their custodial parents for misuse of their child support money? So they'll like be adults. Maybe they're trying to go to college or something like that, and they go back and they look at the money, and it was like, you got paid X amount of dollars in child support. That was my money. You mismanaged the money, and now I don't have the money to go to college, and I can't take care of myself. I honestly believe that is going to happen soon. Like, we're going to see this in court for real. And I think that's going to be a thing, especially when they say that the child support money belongs to the child, right? So what should child support cover? Depending on where you live, a judge or child support agency will use either a state calculator or other state-specific guidelines to determine child support for a family with divorced or unmarried parents. When the judge or child agency calculates child support, the intent is to cover the child's basic needs, right? The intent is to cover the child's basic needs. Again, these words are important, right? These words are important. Basic needs. At a bare minimum, a custodial parent should use child support to help with those basic needs. Beyond basic needs and depending on the situation, child support may also be used to pay for other costs associated with raising a child, such as school tuition, fees for extracurricular activities, health care, and child care. All right. All that makes sense. Basic needs plus additional stuff. Okay. All right. You know what I mean? Okay, fine. Basic needs because parents are responsible for providing proper food, clothing, and housing for their children. Child support can always be used to cover those necessities. For example, you can use child support money to make sure that your child has well-fitting clothing for all seasons, make rent or mortgage payments so the child has a safe place to live, and cover transportation expenses for the child, including car payments, fuel, bus fare, and any other costs associated with getting the child to and from home, school, family visits, and other places of activities. I'm telling you, these words are going to be a problem because we know we have a lot of kids that are single family children and blended. So you might have a mom who has a child by one man and then another child by another man and then a third child by a third man. The money belongs to the kid. So would it be considered misappropriation of funds if the money is being used for child number one, whose father is paying, let's say, $2,000 a month, and the other children aren't receiving any money in child support? Is it misappropriation of funds to use that money to help raise the other children? I wonder. You know what I mean? Now we start getting into some crazy stuff, and it goes into healthcare, it goes into childcare, it goes into tuition. And it talks about this particular article talks about college tuition. In most states, the age of majority when the law considers a person to be an adult is 18. A parent's obligation to pay support doesn't necessarily end at age 18, though. And we know about that. Certain states, they can, take it up to 24, I think is the highest number. They can keep, the kids in college and you're still paying, like you call them kids, but they're 24 years old. They're grown people and they're still in college and you're still paying child support for grownups. That doesn't make sense to me. You're old enough to join the military and go fight for this country, then you should stop having to be supported. That kills me when people call 24-year-olds kids. Nah, and they're grown adults, man. When I was 24 years old, I was in charge of other men. So it is what it is. Let's see. In many states, courts have the discretion to order parents to continue to financially support their child through college or post-secondary education, sometimes even graduate school. In these situations, courts consider factors such as the degree in which the child is still financially dependent on the parents' expectation for the child, for example, that the parents always plan for the child that would attend that college, the financial circumstances of the parent, and whether alternative funding resources such as a loan or financial aid or available to the child. So you see how the law works. They got to really get in. They got to delve into this. And I see the chats are piling up. I'm going to jump on the chats here in a second. Additional child support expenses other than expenses that aren't covered by traditional child support calculations include fees for and costs associated with extracurricular activities, talking about sports or band or, the arts or whatever. All right. Uniforms or instrument costs, which are, my daughter plays trombone. I ain't seen that trombone, but I'm paying for it every month. Did I set that up monthly? Yeah, I did. I set it up monthly. Summer camp, tutoring, and extraordinary health costs. That all makes sense. Tutoring can run up to close to, between $80 and maybe $120 a week, depending on what type of tutoring. So that could get expensive. Like, if it's $100 a week, that's $400 a month on tutoring. You know what I mean? For 5 or 6 months out of the year, maybe a little longer. Or if you do it throughout the year, because a lot of times people have tutors come, all 12 months. Bro, it's crazy because a court's child support order won't always cover these circumstances. Parents might need to work together to create an agreement on how each parent will contribute to a child's special expenses. If the parent can't come to an agreement, they can request that a judge create an order addressing their issues to modify an existing order to address it. So again, having a court involved is maddening. Trust me, I'm dealing with the process. So it could be a lot of money, right? It could be a lot of money. So when you ask the question, could a adult child sue the custodial parent for mismanagement of said funds? I think we might be getting into something here, y'all. I think we might be getting into something. So, it's crazy, but I think we're going to see this pretty soon. Miss AKA lady, but how would you monitor how the money is managed? There are so many expenses with the kid. Would the custodial parent be required to submit expense statements? How would that work? I know in California, you can request that all monies associated with child support be placed on a debit type card. So it's easier to track. So everything you get for the child, you have to use that card for. So you're buying clothes or you're buying food or whatever, you can use that card. And as far as when it comes to housing and stuff like that, or medical expenses, that could be tracked through, okay, well, what's your, what's your mortgage, what's your rent? We can look at medical expenses. So it's not impossible to track. In fact, it wouldn't be that difficult, especially if you're using that card. And I think, in California, you have to request that. I don't know how the other states work. Let's see. Sister Candace, basic needs should be calculated with region in mind. However, they should not be inflated to account for the non-custodial parent's income. In my opinion, we know how much it costs to raise a child to 18. I'm glad you brought that up because I do have that information here. We're gonna pull that up in a second. You're right. Child support should not result in a financial windfall for one parent or another. In the case where one parent out-earns the other, that's where alimony, if applicable, comes into play. I agree with you 100%. We got Dr. B in the house. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. I'm still feeling good from that party, man. Dr. B was down there rocking it out, man. He was on the dance floor making it happen. The doctor was sweating like, he was getting it on, man. It was a good time. I can't stress that enough, man. Fresh and Fit really did a good job on that mansion party. I'm sorry, that mega yacht party. But Sister Candace is absolutely right. And Dr. B, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. You know what I mean? Maybe you were, maybe you weren't getting the exercise in. I'm just saying. Allegedly, we were down there having a good old time. And like I said, it was a grown-up event, man. It was nothing. There was only one crazy thing that I saw, and it had nothing to do with anyone. It was just one individual getting a lot of attention. But all in all, man, it was real grown up. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a good time. Met some really cool people down there. I hope they do more. That's all I got to say about that. I hope, you know what I mean? Like Fresh is in Barbados right now. I think Myron's laying low. YouTube kicked them off for a week. So I think they took that as an opportunity to kind of get some rest and relaxation, some R&R. And when they, I'm not even bugging them. I don't want to bug them. I want them to go out and relax because they've been going hard for 2 years. But when they get back to it, I'm going to be definitely asking them. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? So, but Sister Candace and Miss AKA Lady both have some good points. Another article I wanted to pull up. I put these things in order. I'm trying to get better at this. You know what I mean? I put these things in order so it makes it easier for me to pull them up. And here's one right here. See if I can hit it one more time. There it is. Misuse of child support funds. I'm not going to pull up the whole thing, but I did want to just look at this little part right here. Because of its broad purpose, it is hard to identify the misuse of child support funds. In fact, child support misuse is only suspected if the very basic needs of a child are not being met. Here we go again with the basic needs. If the basic needs of a child are not being met, the courts will want to show why and may agree to look into child support misuse. So it's kind of like, we don't want to know. This money is for the basic needs of the child. And it's like what Sister Candace was saying. We know how much it costs to raise a child. And this money is supposed to meet the basic needs. So I think most people will, now maybe not most people, but a lot of child support orders go well above meeting the basic needs of a child. You know what I mean? So when I see that, I'm like, okay. Okay. And there was another article that kind of touched on this and this highlighted, and I wanted to show you guys this as well. Because it was really hard for me to find anything on misuse and what the court does about this sort of thing, if anything at all. So, and here it is right here. Let's see. Because of its broad purpose, it is hard to identify the misuse of child support funds. In fact, child support misuse is only suspected if the very basic needs of a child are not being met. If the basic needs of the child are not being met, the courts will want to know why and may agree to look into the child support misuse. Did you see that? They might want to know why, and they may look into it. So it's really fire and forget. Let's get the money, let's get the order, and then we're out. You know what I mean? And that's two separate sources that's already said that. You know what I mean? And again, in this same article that was looking at, it said the child support is supposed to be to meet the basic needs, necessity, food, clothing, shelter. And at a bare minimum, child support must cover food for the child, adequate clothing for the child's age and with weather conditions, and a warm, clean place to live. All of the proper amenities such as running water, heat, air conditioning, and then it goes into medical expenses and all that. All that makes sense, but the order, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. It's like, if that's what we're doing, why are we coming up with these crazy orders that go well above that? Like, well above that. You know what I mean? So, Sister Candace, even with debit cards being used for a child's purpose, you might be splitting hairs. Without an itemized list of items purchased, how can you determine if the charges were for formula, slant diapers, or ATV? Great point. When you use those debit cards, it'll give you an itemized list, like, when you see, when you pull up your own stuff, if you like with a credit card or a debit card, it'll show you where the money's went. Well, I guess a lot of times it'll show you who got the money. So if you're in there spending $5,000 in Best Buy, it's like, I don't think Best Buy is selling formula. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, okay. But or maybe the money should go through like some sort of organization, like a controller or something like that, and they divvy the money out accordingly. Like, you should be doing this. Is one thing I did want to show. Like, we know how much it costs to raise kids, and it was just perfect segue, Sister Candace, when you brought that up. So let's just go ahead and look at that now. And this is from The Hill. New estimate projects cost of raising a child at $310,000 from age 0. I think it's from 0 to 17. New figures show the cost of raising a child has become more expensive as the nation grapples with higher rising inflation. Let's see, when this was 8/19 of last year when this article came out. A recent estimate conducted by Brookings Institute projected the cost of raising a child for a middle income, 2-parent, married family with 2 kids to be north of $310,000. The estimate assumes the youngest child will be born in 2015 and covers raising the child through age 17. It does not include the cost of sending the child to college. Wow. Brookings used the methodology used from a previous report on child expenditures from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The figure is roughly $80,000 more than the estimate USDA released in 2017. So you can see the numbers are going up. When it calculated the average child rearing cost for middle income married couples with a child born in the same year, this estimate was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Now, when I went to the search engine, y'all, I typed in how much it costs to raise a child in California. So I don't know. I don't think that this report is simply for that region. I don't think so. But I think this covers like a national average. To calculate the number, experts use an average inflation rate of 2.23%, similar to the rate used by the USDA report to estimate the total cost from 2015 to 2020. But the new report also factors in a 1.77% increase in the rate for 2021 and subsequent years. Isabel Sawhill, a senior fellow of economic studies at the Brookings Institution, told the Hill the calculation was based on past trends of the nation's inflation rates. I said it was the most comparable historical period right now, and it turns out, in my opinion, that it was the late 1970s when we had double-digit inflation, said Sawhill, who produced the estimate along with Morgan Welsh, the senior research assistant, the Center for Children and Families. Sawhill's pointed out the actions taken by then Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker to combat the rising costs that helped spur the recession. We had a big recession in the early 80s, actually 2 back-to-back recessions that eventually the inflation rate got back to normal, Sawhill said, which she added the Fed considers to be around 2%. I look at all the data and I estimated that on average over this period, the inflation rate would be 4%, Sawhill said. The new estimate only crunches numbers for middle income married parents and doesn't include projections for single parent households or consider how race factors into cost challenges, which we know is big. But Sawhill said lower income families are likely to bear a significant burden from the higher costs, calling it a much more important expense for lower income than higher income families. It makes sense. Bill Gates is not going to worry about how much it costs to raise a child, she put plainly, while saying she thinks the sharp rise in costs in recent years shows is a greater burden than it used to be to have children. So that's pretty good. That's just keeping it 100. $310,000 over 17 years to raise a child. That's a lot of money, right? I don't think that's a lot of money. So if we know that number, 310,000, right? And if you're like a single parent, because that study didn't cover single parents and all that kind of stuff. But if we say, all right, we're going to accept that number, we're going to say it costs $300,000 to raise a child from 0 to 17, right? That's what we're going to say. We're going to accept these numbers. Okay. If you got a situation where, two people got together, they had a child, they've never been married. Okay. We're going to need child support here. The max child support should be $150,000, right? We know it costs $300,000 to raise a child. And we know that both parties are responsible, equal 50, but it should be 50-50. So then shouldn't it be a max? And the reason I'm saying this is the way I look at the system, it should be caps. There should be caps. Even if the cap is, 200,000, why? It takes 2 to tango. It takes 2 people to make one baby. If you got that baby and we know what it costs to raise that child and the other person is responsible for half, it's half of his genes, right? Or half of her genes to make the child, then why are some parents paying well over that? I know people out there right now, they're paying on track to pay like $450,000 to $525,000 over 17 years to raise a child. They're paying, that's their child support. They're paying all that. So like, well, what's the other parent paying? And then you hear the arguments of, well, they got the child and blah, blah, blah. Like, well, they fought to keep the child away from the other parent. The other parent isn't even offered an opportunity to participate in the life of said child. So you see what I mean? It goes back and forth, and that money could add up quick. So that's one of the things that I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy. Brother Jose, for a person to get child support, they need to have full custody. No, they need to be named a custodial parent. So even if, like, when you go to court, and I think this is the way, again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not in the business, I've just been run over by the system. In most states, when you find yourself before a family court judge, they will name one parent the custodial parent. Generally speaking, the custodial parent is the parent who has the child more, generally speaking, but they're going to name a custodial parent. The non-custodial parent is the one who has to comply with the child support order. Now in California, I don't know how it's worked in other states, but in California, that order, that money is based on how much time you have with your child. So you can have a situation where it's a 50-50 split. But even though it's 50-50 split, the child support order is based on the amount of money that the non-custodial parent earns. And even though both parents have the child equally, 50-50, the non-custodial parent could still be obligated to pay a child support order. And it could be anywhere from $200 all the way up to $1,000 or more per month, even though they have their child half the time. So there's a lot that goes on with this, a lot, right? And when you hear that, it's like, what? And the question becomes why? And I think that there could be some common sense changes to the way the system works. Take it away from the judge. It's like, all right, when two people come in, that's the father, I'm the mom, we're in family court. The default, and shout out to the lead attorney, TLA talks about this all the time. The default should be 50-50 custodial split. You don't need a custodial parent. It's 50-50. You pay for your child when you have your child, and the other parent pays for the child when they have the child. 50-50, no child support. That's how it should work. That should be the default. Now, let's say you get into a situation and one parent or the other doesn't want to do that. They're like, I'm too busy. I don't want my child 50% of the time. Then, okay, it should revert to the system we have now. How much you make, how much time you're going to be with the child. Okay, mom's going to have the child 75% of the time. You're going to have the child 25% of the time, or 80-20 or 90-10, whatever it breaks down to. They put your information into the calculator, out comes a number. So because you only have the child, and of course, mom will be named custodial parent right off the rip. I mean, because at least in the second scenario, you were offered an opportunity to co-parent. You were offered the opportunity to be involved, to be dad, to be mom, and you said no. So in that case, all right, we're going to extract money from you. And even in that case, we'll look at, okay, the max is 100. It costs $310,000 to have this child. So 50% of that should be 150. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? So should the cap be what the average it costs to raise the child? In other words, if you have 0% custody of your child because you don't want to be involved, let's get away from whether you had a choice or not or whatever. Let's leave that out. Let's leave that out there for now. Let's just say that there's a parent involved and they don't want to be involved in their child. It's like they want 0% custody. Should the cap then be whatever the average is to raise a child in that region? So let's say that the cap is $310,000. It's like, okay, your child support obligation is $310,000 over 18 years. That's it. And then, of course, if you have custody, it's like, well, you got custody 20% of the time, so you just have to pay 80% of that $310,000. Or should it just be a split? Like, well, the other parent, regardless, is responsible for the financial burden of having a child. They had the child, they want to be with the child, they brought the child into this world. So the other parent owes you $150 I guess $155,000. That's going to be, and they don't want to see the child, but they owe you their half. Their financial half is $155,000. What do y'all think about that? I don't know. But yeah, Brother Jose, that's how it works to my knowledge. And Sister Candace, like at Walmart, for instance, yeah, because she's talking about at Walmart, you could be buying eggs or you could be buying, a big screen TV. You would definitely need to itemize that. And you're right. Tracking it can be done, but it could be a little tougher to track. Sister Candace and Brother Jose, the non-custodial parent should be able to request an audit wherein the custodial parent must show receipts for all their purchases. Yeah, and I agree with you there, Sister Candace. And I would also state that there should be some sort of program like, all right, this particular debit card itemizes like that. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. Something that the state could, a program that could be built that it makes it real easy. And maybe the child support agency already itemizes it and they already track it. So when the non-custodial parent requests an audit, they can just pull it right up. Here you go. This is where the money is going. At least they can account for maybe 80% of said money. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, I have 2 kids. My food bill is about $250 to $350 every 2 weeks. That's because I buy real food, which is expensive. Good for you, love. You should. Add in childcare and other expenses, you're over $1,000 a month. Okay, so if we were to use that, just those limited price points, and let's say that, you were looking for child support, and should the other parent, if they have zero custody, only be responsible for half that $1,000. So they're going to pay $500, right? Or should they pay more? I would say that they're responsible for half of the financial burden. Miss A.K. Elliott, would you consider that maybe the non-custodial parents should pay more if they chose not to have any parenting time? And if they did have parenting time, if it was a 50-50 split, should they pay anything? Those are the questions that I have. Brother Jose, that makes sense that they should be able to do that so money is actually being used on the child. Yeah, you would think it makes sense. So no McDonald's. Hey, McDonald's is trash, but I ain't gonna lie to you. Them fries. Miss AKA lady Jose, that would be so much cheaper and faster. So I understand why people fall down that trap, but no. However, I did start growing food to save more. Yeah, you can sell that food too. You might be sitting on an urban farm or something, make some big bucks. Let's see, Miss AKA lady, if the custodial parent has the kid over 50% of the time and the other parent has much more personal time to make money, then do you think the cost still should be 50-50 when the time isn't? I do. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do. I believe that, if you're having a child with someone and y'all not married or you're married or whatever, maybe you make maybe it's different if you're married, like through the divorce process. But if 2 people meet, they were never married, they have children, they decide to have the child. Let's keep it 100. The woman gets to choose the way our system works right now. If she chooses to have a child, right? Because she has choices, he doesn't. If she chooses to have a child, that guy should at most be on the hook for 50%. For 50%, you know what I mean? Going on the premise that he didn't want the child in the first place. You know what I mean? People, he didn't wear, he could have contraception and da-da-da, and she could have da-da-da, whatever. The baby's here. You know what I mean? He didn't get a choice. She got a choice. And this is just DL Satan's take on this, y'all. This is just my take. Tell me what y'all think. I'm going to drop the link here in a second because I really want to hear y'all. I want to hear y'all responses to this. I think it should be 50-50, honestly, especially if in most courts, they don't give 50-50 splits. So even if you have the guy who wants to be involved in his child's life, he won't even get the 50-50 split. So I think that the most he should have to pay is 50%. And maybe that would be incentive for women to allow the fathers or for the other parent to be involved more. I mean, that's just my take on it. Brother Helka's in the house. What's good, fam? Brother Jose, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, bro. Look like Brother Mike gave us $1, man. Appreciate that, bro. I see you, man. Appreciate that. With the super sticker, I really appreciate that, bro. Them dollars add up, man. I'm telling you. Brother Jose, Miss AKA lady, see that smart. And the easiest way isn't always the best way. Facts. And I'm about to, like I said, I'm gonna catch up with the chat real quick, and then I want to drop the link. Sorry, y'all got all these notifications popping up on my computer. Y'all can't see them, but it's like if I accidentally hit it, it opens up my email. I need to figure out another way. Miss AKA lady, how do you create a cap when the cost when the cost everything is increasing so fast? Imagine being stuck with the child support agreement that was created in 2008 cost numbers. You would be drowning now. You have a point. You have an excellent point. I mean, maybe like it's because the USDA only put their numbers out, I think, every 10 years. Maybe you do something where, the government gives these numbers out maybe every 4 years or every something like that. And then the court has the discretion to update these numbers one way or the other. But there should be a cap, though. I mean, there really should be a cap. You got people running around here paying $16,000 a month, $100,000 a month in child support. Come on now. We're talking about the child support is designed to cover basic needs, period. Kanye West is paying like upwards of $200,000 a month to his wife, his ex-wife, who's a billionaire. After a certain financial, if you meet a certain financial threshold, you shouldn't even be entitled to child support. You can provide for that child's basic needs. So, let me drop the link. Let me catch up with this, and I'm gonna drop the link because I definitely want to talk. I hope you pop up here, Miss AKA lady. I really, really do. Because this stuff right here really needs to be done. Man, 4 songs in the house. What's good, Airborne? I see you, man. You know what I mean? Go ahead, man. Beat your face, man. Drop, give me 20, bro. And if you can't do push-ups, you go ahead and beat your boots, which basically means you're just doing deep, squats. That's all you're doing. Beat your boots. When you squat all the way down, you touch your ankles or the top of your boots, and you stand back up again. That's 1. So either give me 20, man. Either beat your face or beat your boots. And Brother Michael with the super sticker, man, I really appreciate that, bro. I really do. Salute to you indeed. Miss AKA lady, I don't need child support. Exactly. I know you don't, but it's just good to have these conversations. I don't need child support. My kid's dad handles most of the kids' expenses, but I handle most of the kids' businesses and day-to-day care. We work as a team, but I know he is spending a lot. And it's good. You know what? Most people do work it out. Most people don't find themselves in front of a judge. I want to say, it's a large percentage. I want to say it's like 80 or 90% of couples work it out without the court. You know what I mean? It's that 10, 20% of people who go in there, and of that is like the one, like less than 5% are like the problem children. Again, I learned that going through some courses in family court. So Sister Candace, a woman ultimately makes the decision on who lives and who dies. Then she should be prepared to face the consequences and challenges of what lies ahead. That's a harsh reality, but it's what I believe, and I believe the same thing as well. To the point where that's why I'm like, it should be caps. That other person is responsible for 50%. Financial termination should be discussed and on the table for men who are not yet ready to be fathers, but whose decision is overridden by the woman. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's coming. I think there's going to be an opportunity for men to opt out financially. Right now, it's not happening. You know what I mean? It's just not happening. Miss AKA lady, I will come up, but I got the kids playing in the background. Y'all don't want to hear what I got going on. Oh man, it is what it is. It'd have been lovely to have you up here though. But I'm definitely gonna drop the link if anybody wants to jump up and have this conversation. It's really difficult. Not difficult, but we had these conversations and 9 times out of 10, like the brothers jump up and we talk and we say what we're gonna say, but we're missing that female element. Like we really want to know, what the ladies are thinking, and Brother Mav 4 knocked him out for you. Appreciate that, Airborne. What's up, man? That's what you're supposed to do. That's who right there. That's who. So this is the, that cost, like we know how much it costs for kids to have kids. We know this. It's not like a random, we don't know, we can't figure it out. There should be caps. There should be caps. You know what I mean? We're basically talking about monetizing children for gain, for financial gain, which is wrong, is evil in my opinion. I agree with Sister Candace wholeheartedly. Women right now in America, women choose who gets to be born and who doesn't in America. That's what it is. That's what it is. Right? So if you decide to bring a child into this world and you're not married, which means you're single, you're deciding to be a single parent, that other parent should also have a decision to make. And if we're not going to give them the decision to walk away, because like, let's face it, even when women have children, the baby could get here and they can give the baby up for adoption. They could take the baby into a municipality like a police department or a fire department, drop the baby off. I just can't handle it. Walk away. That woman doesn't have to pay child support. She can abandon her child and not have to pay a dime. But men have to pay. They don't get a choice. And I think people will be surprised at how many men step up and want to raise their children anyway. Everyone can just assume that the guys are going to want to just run off and not be a part of that. I would argue that more men would stay. But we won't know until if and when something like that were to happen. But again, if a woman decides to have a child, she wants to be a single parent, she's not married, the guy is not, they don't have that. Right. Okay. So we're going to force him to be financially responsible if he doesn't want to actually, he's not ready to be a parent. There should be a cap. We know it costs around $300,000 to raise the child. His obligation should be no more than $150,000. That's just my take on it. Please tell me, please, y'all, somebody jump up here and tell me if I'm wrong or just in the chat. Just like, let me know how y'all feeling about that. But there shouldn't be guys out here paying $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, 100% or more of the cost of raising a child when they didn't want to be a father in the first place. And the woman, the mom, she has all the choices in the world. That's my problem with the way the situation is going now. And I mean, I understand why the government doesn't want to give men the chance, because then the government may be left on the hook for having a child, paying for the child or whatever. So, there's all kind of arguments that come into play here. But so we get into this, right? So let's say we have a female, she's getting all this money. She's getting $500,000 over 17, 18 years. And she mismanages the funds. Like, it's kind of like, is that a thing? And then the child grows up, it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Mom mismanaged these funds. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to need some of this money back so I can go to college. What happens then? I really believe that this is going to make its way into court. Now, here's an article that I think people will get a kick out of. And shout out to Sister Candace, because she's doing it. And shout out to Pink Book Lessons, because Pink Book Lessons did a video on this. And because I'm monetized, I didn't want to use the video because I can't get a hold of the sister from Pink Book Lessons. I would love to react to that, but probably would get like a copyright claim or something like that. So I'm not going to put it on this particular stream. But here's the headline, and this is from People. Aaron Hernandez's trust sues his fiance's $12,000 home goods charge, not to daughter's benefit, right? And I'm not going to try to pronounce the daughter's name and the mom's name because you see those names right here, man. You know what I mean? Avelis, I think that's how you pronounce that. And then the mom's name is Shayana Jenkins Hernandez. Yeah. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but Aaron Hernandez, who was a NFL player, one of the best tight ends in the game at the time, played for the New England Patriots, played for I think he played for University of Miami in college. Turns out the guy was a sociopath killer. He's a murderer, right? Caught a murder case, had to go to jail, and while he was locked up, as the story goes, he self-deleted. Not quite sure if this man self-deleted, but anyway, he's gone. But he had a lot of money. He was a very, very successful football player, had a lot of money put away when he got locked up, and a lot of money was put in trust for his daughter. So, again, like what we said earlier, we were reading this stuff, the money is for the child, and the custodial parent is in charge of the money. But in this case, there's a trust. There's a trust involved with this money, and the trust is trying to divvy out the money as needed to make the money stretch. I don't know how much money it is, but They're trying to make the money stretch. So Aaron Hernandez's fiance merits an investigation for reasonableness. Is that? Yeah. So in court documents obtained by people, the legal team representing the attorney David Schwartz, who is in charge of the trust for Hernandez's daughter, right, claims that some of these expenses that mom has asked for reimbursement on stretch beyond the scope of what the trust is responsible for covering. Right? So nothing that's estimated that mom wanted was dispersed upwards of $800,000 from the fund. Okay, so noting that the baby moms was already given upwards of $800,000 from the fund since she was named conservator, Schwartz's legal team writes, the trustee understands that providing for the child includes expenses related to the household, but the expenditures for her late father's NFL pension and Social Security benefits merit investigation for their reasonableness, if not correctness. So they're trying to figure out where all the money is coming. So on the right, there's a picture here. This is Aaron Hernandez. This is the guy who was convicted of murder and self-deleted, allegedly in jail. And this is the baby moms right here. And these are the children. I think the child we're talking about is the older of the two. Nice Louis Vuitton scarf, by the way, mom. So right there, who paid for that? Let's see. One search charge had been pointed to since the court documents became public earlier this week is a $12,000 charge from Home Goods, a store that sells home furnishings, decor, a category that doesn't directly relate to the 10-year-old. So mama's out here going shopping at Home Goods, getting $10,000 worth of stuff, and she's back charging that to the trust. So she wants her daughter to buy this $12,000 worth of furniture or whatever is going on here, and the trust is pushing back. You know what I mean? Large amounts of money were spent under each category of the accountings with little clear identification of how these disbursements benefit the child, right? So, you know, it's like the filing proclaims she's also citing a $3,000 charge for Bay Path University. It's a 10-year-old. This kid ain't in school. So mom wants $3,000. So that's $15,000 just on those two things that they're looking at. You know, Bay Path University, like, what's that? It's a 10-year-old. Kid ain't in school. And they basically said that, like, yo, the child's not in college, right? The entire education category deserves investigation since the trust pays parochial school and tuition, and many of these entries do not appear to be for the child. So, and yes, y'all, I'm purposely skipping over the names because I don't want to hack her name up or whatever. But mom is back charging the trust for all this stuff. And it's like, well, this is for education. This is for this is for that. And the trust is like, nah, we got to look at this. So they are doing an audit and they had to go to court. The trust had to get attorneys. All this money is being, you know, I'm sure that the trust has to pay the attorneys and all this kind of stuff to kind of, you know, seems like to get mom under control. And it said the two parties first came to a point of contention in September after mom asked for $10,000 from the trust to cover the cost of the baby's competitive dance lessons. $10,000. The request was denied by Schwartz, who cited approximately $150,000 in funds issued to mom each year to cover the baby's daily expenses. So the child is getting $150,000, I guess, a year. Yeah, $150,000 a year for this 10-year-old. And mom wants money outside of that. And then and they're like, no, she's out here just trying to run this fund. And they're trying to get the court to remove her as a conservator and or, you know, they want to get her away from the money. They want to remove her as conservator, right? So the mom of two who welcomed another little girl, so she had another baby by another dude, has also requested that Schwartz be removed and replaced as a trustee. So both sides are like, you should be removed from the money. No, you should be removed from the money. And we see what it is. So, I mean, it just kind of goes into this, right? And I mean, clearly as a fiduciary for the child, the trustee has a fiduciary duty to inquire into how approximately $832,041 in receipts have been applied by the conservator to support the child before exercising his discretion to make distributions that fall within ordinary expenses that the father's pension and social security benefits would easily cover. And this is what the filing states. So, I mean, look at all this money. They're like, yo, you getting all this bread. Well, what are you doing? They're trying to figure it out. And these are just two separate entities, right? If dad was still around, forget about it. They wouldn't even be looking into this. Right? So in that regard, mother has no basis to either seek a court order to compel a payment or decree to remove the trustee. So they're basically like, yeah, man, these people are here for a reason. We see what you're doing. We ain't gonna replace nobody. So, and I guess Hernandez was with this woman for 7 years before his legal troubles began. I guess before he started getting caught for bodying all these people. Like I said, he was a great tight end. He was arrested in 2013 for the murder of one of his friends, Odin Lloyd, a man dating Hernandez's sister. As he was awaiting trial, he was charged in connection with the fatal drive-by shooting of Daniel Jorge Carrera de Abreu and two other dudes. So while he was sitting down waiting to get charged or trial for the first murder, they tied him to a double murder. And then he was convicted of Lloyd's murder and sentenced to life in prison. And then he was acquitted of the double homicide, but days later was found dead by self-deletion in his prison cell. So that's Aaron Hernandez. So we all see what it is. You see what it is. Like, it's this child support stuff. She's getting $150,000 a year for her 10-year-old. Right? Her 10-year-old. And that's not enough money. Like, she's trying to get upwards of $800,000 plus so she can go buy furniture and go to different colleges and whatever. It's like, I can use this money for whatever I want to use it for. No, you cannot. That's the child's money, not your money. And that's the thing. That's what we're looking at. That's the child's money. So, and there should be a cap on that. You know what I mean? But, he's not here anymore. But even if he were alive, he wouldn't be around because he was doing a life bid for murder. So either way, there would be, this trust and these trustees involved to make sure the money isn't just ran through. You're not just thinking about the 18 years, right? It'd be another 8 years, I guess, because the baby is 10. But they're trying to plan out her whole life. $800 and something thousand. I mean, come on, man. How many houses is that? $150,000 a year for a 10-year-old. That's more than enough money to sustain the basic needs for the child. Remember, that's what it's for. And it's the child's money on top of that. It's not even the mother's money. So, oh man, I tell you what, Brother Helka, my question is, a woman abandoning a child at a firehouse, does that get rid of the father's rights if he's able to be determined? No, but most times the father doesn't know. I'm pretty sure. Again, that should be some changes to the law. There was a story. I don't have the information in front of me, but I recall a couple articles. There was a woman who did that. There was a woman who was pregnant. She had a baby and decided she wanted to give the baby up for adoption. And the adopting family couldn't wait to they were so happy to get this baby. And the baby was mixed race or 100% black. So I can't remember what race mom was, but dad was black man. So while this was going on, dad was trying to track down the mom. He knew she was pregnant with his child. He was trying to track her down. By the time he was able to track down his child, the adoption process was almost complete. So this family, if I remember correctly, the family was just about to be named the legal guardians, the parents of this child that they were going to adopt, when the father finally caught up and was like, that's my baby. I want my baby. And then this went to court. where they were fighting to keep this child away from the biological father. He just happened to be black. And not only was he black, but the man was making six figures. Plus, I want to say he was an engineer or he was in tech or something like that. Highly educated guy, comes from a great family. His family had to get involved. It took a lot of work just for him to get his child after mom walked away from the child. I had to find that story. And luckily, if memory serves, he was able to get his child. And the reason I brought up the race is because the family that was adopting was Caucasian. Again, if memory serves. So they were were just about at the finishing stages of adopting this child. When dad shows up, finally found her because mom was running from him. He tracked her down. Mom had walked off, gave the baby up for adoption, and dad was able to get his seed, get his child. But he had to fight it in court. And it was a tough battle. I'm gonna find that article, y'all. I'm gonna find that article, and we're gonna talk about that. And that was to Brother Hayoka's question. Like, if they know where the dad is, I'm sure he has some legal rights. But this dude had to fight to get his own child because mom gave the child up for adoption. And they weren't even thinking about that. He had to show up. And I wonder what would have happened if he had gotten there after the adoption was finalized. I wonder if he would even have been able to find his child, because I think a lot of agencies, they block that information. You would need court orders to unseal this information. And would he be able to call the child back? That's a scary thought right there. Sister Candace and Brother Hayoka, good question. And if the father was able to be located and he decided to take custody of the baby, can he put the mother on child support? I think the answer to that, sis, is no. I think once she gives the child up, that's it. I don't think he will be able to put her up on child support. Again, I'm not an expert, but I don't think so. Again, this is another one of those choices that women have, and there's no consequence for it. Men can't do that, but women can, I think. Man, I'm gonna have to ask my buddy Perry Davis about that one. We definitely gonna have to do another episode about this. Miss AKA lady, even if the custodial parent makes a lot of money, the other parent should still contribute financially. If anything, put it in an account to be transferred to the kids at a future time. I would agree with you, but most people wouldn't. You know what I mean? So, both parents should have to pay. Like I said, it should be caps. Like, all right, parent over there is paying, $150,000, and it's, I guess mom is going to be paying the other $150,000 if in fact it costs $310,000 to raise a child or whatever, whatever the numbers, if it's $155,000 or whatever it turns out to be, right? So it is what it is. Sister Kansas and Miss AK, lady for it. For instance, Kanye West, he is required to pay, I believe, $400,000 a month for all four of his kids, despite Kim being a billionaire. No, Kim's a billionaire, I believe. I think she's a billionaire. In the case, the money should be put aside for the kids. Yeah, at least a chunk of that money should go to trust. At least half. If not, I would say 75% of that money should go into some sort of trust. And then, the mom should have access to 25% of that. They don't need it. You got people who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, man. They don't need it. My personal thing is, if you make over a certain financial threshold, you're not eligible for child support. Sorry, mom, you make $150,000. You can more than afford to take care of the child that you decided to have. That's how I look at it. Brother Hayoka, Sister Candace, that's brutal but true, indeed. Miss AKA lady, she's running it up, doing way too much. Yeah, Sister Candace, put in the fund to go to the kids or something, right? Let them be able to spend that money once they're old enough. They get some at 18, they get some at 24, they get some at 26, they get the rest at 30 or something like that. At least they'll be, they'll be taken care of. They'll be, millionaires, and hopefully they won't waste the money. But if they do, it's their money to waste. Trust fund babies. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, LOL. Them names wearing you out. Yes, they were, girl. I'm just skipping all over them. Like, it's wearing me out. Man, I'm doing the best I could. And then Brother Hagel was like, I think I remember something like that. Yeah, that when I heard that, I was like, wow. So I guess we can ask the final question. Should misappropriation of child support be a crime? Like a financial crime, like not a big felony, but you know what I mean? Should they be responsible? Could they be sued and held accountable for misappropriation of child support funds? Or one in the chat if it should be a crime and they should be held accountable for misappropriation of child support funds. A 2 in the chat if it's like, no, the parent has complete discretion. If they want to waste the money or whatever, they should not be held accountable for how they handled that fund down the line. So a 1 in the chat if they should be held to account and it should be against the law. A 2 in the chat if the way we're doing it, they should not be held to account and it's okay if they waste the money or don't waste the money. Because you look at what's going on with Aaron Hernandez's money, $800 and something thousand. If left unchecked, that baby moms will be running. She'll run through all that bread over the next 8 years, all of it. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it should be illegal. But I'm gonna put a 1 in the chat. I think it should be illegal. I think people should be held account. I think that the children, once they're old enough, should be able to go looking for some of that money. Because that we're talking about a lot of bread. You know what I mean? Like I said, some cases it's well north of $500,000. Some cases it's well under that. But I think we should be holding people to account. Looks like Brother Helka agrees. We should be holding people to account. You know what I mean? Let's see. I'm waiting to see my StreamYard. I'm noticing the StreamYard is behind the live chat because I got the live chat running in the background and I can see the chats that are coming up. But StreamYard, I don't see it. It's like a delay. It's almost like a 2-minute delay. But Miss AK, hey lady, I'm a huge advocate for healthy co-parenting relationships. That's why women who take advantage of the system aggravate me. They are responsible for the narrative surrounding women and child support. They are. And again, it's a very small percentage. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's those women and those people, they make up a very small percentage of what's going on out there. So, Brother Hayoka, a woman giving up her child at a fire station is also a false representation, being that on the other hand, the father is also responsible if she decided to keep the baby. Yeah. Yeah. And Brother Hayoka, he put a 1 in there like, yeah, people should be held. It should be illegal. The primary is the child and not the parent keeping the child. Absolutely. Brother Mike hit the damn like button. Brother Mandrell's in the house. What's good, man? Good to see you, bro. I know Brother Mandrell was like, yeah, it should be illegal. It absolutely should. Miss AK Ayla even put a 1 in there. But under egregious situations, if you're only paying $400 a month, then go sit down. I agree with you there. I'm not talking about that. You got people who are paying $300 a month of child support, $50, $80. I'm not talking about that. You know what I mean? I agree with you 100%. But when people are getting, upwards of, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, I think that should be looked at. I really think that should be looked at. And then we got Brother Mandrell's in the house. What's good with you, bro? For real. Let me give you the fire. You get the horns. What's up? Glad you're here. Because it should be. Misappropriation of child support should be a thing. You know what I mean? Wonderful 34 is in the house. What's good, fam? Good to see you. What's up with you? What's up with you? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. It missed a whole bunch of chats. It did indeed. But it's a good thing I have I got the show running in the background. And like I said, it's a huge delay. It is a huge delay, like almost 5 minutes. So yeah, that's the show, man. I appreciate that. I'll hang out just for a couple extra seconds. I see in the StreamYard. I mean, I just posted another link. If anybody wanted to jump up, we could probably do a quick 15 minutes before I wrap it up. I am definitely trying to catch Melanie King. She's going live around 8:00. And I'll be on Black Man Unfiltered tonight. Talk That Talk Tuesday. I'll be a co-host. I'll be on the show with with Dusto, Scam Likely. So he and I will be co-hosting, and it's Talk That Talk Tuesday. Yo, come through 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. Be over there chopping it up. I don't even know what we're gonna be talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something good. So yeah, if y'all ain't doing anything, please come by and support Black Man Unfiltered Network. They're doing some good stuff over there. And yeah, that's at 9 Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, that's the show right there, y'all. I guess I'll just wrap it up because I really do think that people should be held to account for that. You know what I mean? Like if you getting in some good money, you're getting upwards of $300,000-$500,000 in child support to raise a child for 17 years, and we know that it's only $300,000 roughly to raise that child. Anything above that shouldn't be gone. Like, where'd that money go? So, you know what I mean? Like, if I ain't gonna lie, if you're a young man or woman, you're 19, 20, whatever you are, 22 years old, you found out that one of your parents was paying all his child support money to the tune of $500,000 over 17, 18 years. And mom's, the other parents talking about, we ain't got no money. Well, where did it go? It only cost $300,000 to raise me. Where's the other $200,000? The math ain't mathing. That child should be able to file in court and find out where that money went. And if that child is able to get a judgment and the mom doesn't have the money, then the state should have to pay that money. Because I think the state should be ultimately responsible. They're taking the money from one party and giving it to the other party. You have to ensure that the child's best interests are met. And again, this is supposed to meet the basic needs of the child. So I don't think the state can just walk away. Well, mama or daddy blew all the money, so there's nothing we can do about it. No, I think the state will have to pay that child the $200,000 that was unaccounted for, or whatever the amount was. That's what I think it should be. And I think we're going to start seeing that. You know what I mean? Don't child stars have financial protection to do the same? Kind of. But I know child stars who have, made a bunch of money as kids. It has to go into some sort of trust, but more often than not, the parents of the child are in charge of that trust. And it's kind of like with the Hernandez thing. They burn through the money. They burn through it. So, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. So I guess the child will have to go back and sue him. I mean, we hear the horror stories of Gary Coleman and all that. It's not that bad, but I know people who were making money as children. They hit 18, 21, went to that trust, and they were like, yo, I know I was getting paid all this money. But then I think there are caveats in there that say, well, the parent can take out money to help with living expenses and this, that, and the third. So the parent starts yanking out money to pay for cars and houses and trips and all this other kind of stuff. And before you know it, maybe that $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 that the kid made is down to $20,000, $30,000 remaining or whatever. And it is what it is. So it's kind of crazy. Like Mandrell said, he'll pull up. So, all right, I'll hang out for a second, bro. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYard. But it's not keeping up with the chats. So I'm seeing it over here. So we were talking about that. Brother Scam Likely Dusto was like, does Brother Heyoka, then Gary Coleman's family run through his money? Yes. And then I'm just going to kind of hang out for a couple more minutes so Brother Mandrell can come up and speak his piece, and then we'll wrap this up. Like I said, I want to definitely be clear by 8:00 so I can jump on some other platforms. And then, of course, at 9:00, I'm going to be on Black Man Unfiltered. I hope y'all can come by and check us out. I'm really tripping. I don't know why. I'm not going to mess with my my StreamYard because I don't want it to dump me and then the whole show just be over, like just boom, dump me. So I don't know, maybe it has something to do with all these programs I got running in the back. So I'm going to close out all those programs. So they're all gone, and maybe it'll catch up, but it hasn't caught up yet. So Yeah, man. Thanks for rocking out with me. Um, this is off topic a little bit, but I don't know if you guys have seen the picture of Erykah Badu and her 18-year-old daughter. Man, let me know. Matter of fact, let me pull the picture up for you. Is Erykah Badu and her 18-year-old daughter. Yeah, it's kind of a racy little picture, but I tell you what, Erykah Badu and her daughter still, yeah. Let me see if I can share this. And I can't, I'm telling you now, I can't make it any bigger. Yeah, I can't make the picture any bigger. But this is the picture right here. This is Erykah Badu. This was on, I think this was on Twitter, maybe Instagram. They both giving, they giving the booty shot. They just giving that booty shot. And I don't. Let me see if I can, because I pulled up the Twitter, the actual original Twitter feed. Let me see if I can pull this up so you guys can see it. And I'll just share screen here. Yeah, this is it. This is it right here. Y'all see that? In the red is Erykah Badu. She's in her 50s. She's probably, I'm 52. Erykah Badu is probably like 50, 51. And in the black is her daughter. I think they say her daughter is 18. And this is, ladies, is this the message we want to send our kids? I mean, her daughter is absolutely beautiful. I mean, she's very in shape, but I mean, why are we taking dual booty shots? Why are we doing that? Why? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Am I open? Am I thinking here? Like, what are we doing? What's going on with that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? What's the deal? This is why, like, you hear all this stuff in the manosphere, you hear stuff on the RP side of the world. They're talking about things like that. And then, I when I talked to my buddy Jay Swans, we talk about this. We had a long conversation today. I'm like, bro, there's definitely been a switch. There's been a shift. That's the acceptable stuff. Like, let's show off our bodies. Let's do this. Why? You know what I mean? From the young girls, like from the 20-somethings all the way to the 50-somethings. It's all about being highly sexualized. And it's all about going out there being, you know what I mean, hot girl summer and all this kind of stuff. I'm telling you, it is what it is. But I tell you, Erykah Badu's looking good in that picture. You know what I mean? Brother Mandrell, did you see that picture?
No, I did not.
Oh, bro, it's Erykah Badu and her daughter showing off the booty pic. But like, yeah, just wherever they're wearing is form fitting. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, man, what are your thoughts, man? Thanks for coming up, man. How you doing, bro? First of all,
I'm doing all right, man. It was a busy day.
say busy day, huh? Just make it out there.
Yeah.
MMA and stuff like that.
Yeah, not today. I took the day off. Yeah, I had some other stuff that took priority. So there's that. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. You got to take a day off from some things to give attention to other stuff. So
yeah,
it was one of those. Couldn't do what I wanted to do. I had to do what I had to do today.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, man, what's your take on the misappropriation of child support, man? Should that be a crime if they're out there just running through child support money? That's or what are your thoughts on that? I saw you put one up in the chat.
It should be, because everyone, I believe everyone should be held accountable, but for their own actions. But the state's not going to care as long as they're getting their money. I told people, like, there's this one guy called the Patriarchy Strikes Back. I hear his message, and he's to put it lightly, a bit strong against the women. Okay, his rhetoric is a bit strong. Okay, I mean, but I think people go the wrong way when they try to solve this issue. The real way you solve this issue and solve it for good is to make it more economically viable to side with men as opposed to women. That's what it's all about. As long as the government sees that and knows that it's more economically viable to market towards women, that's what it's going to be. It's all about the most bang for your buck in every scenario, dealing with whatever. Get the most amount you can with the least amount of effort put into it. Path of least resistance. It's just human nature. And as long as men buy the stuff we need, and that's it. But whereas women buy shit they don't need nor they really want, they'll buy stuff and they don't even really want it. Oh, that's cute. Just because they think it looks cute, they'll buy it.
Right.
They'll never wear it. They'll never wear that blouse. They'll never wear those jeans. But just because it looks cute, that's cute. They'll pick it up. When they could have saved that money and used it for something else. But as long as that's the situation, this is what it's going to be, man.
It's definitely what it's going to be, man. That is, man. Hey, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I do foresee a future where kids are going to be taking their parents to court, mostly moms, because most women, receive child support. They get 90% of the time their name custodial parent, they receive child support. I think kids are going to be taking them to court. We're going to see some cases. And like I said, if it falls back on the government, and the government says, like, if the government is ordered, like judge says, now the state has to pay or the child support agency has to pay this money, then you're going to see it change quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, but you're not having that. They're not even putting themselves in a spot where they can even take that risk, where that kind of risk is even possible. But for the state to pay any money, please, they're not having that. What's up, Cody is King? But no, they're not having that. They're not even putting themselves in a position where that's even possible. No, they're not doing that. So, so that's what it's all about, man. I mean, at the end of the day, because I've been watching these court cases now, child support cases. I think there's one. I may be wrong, but I think it's Louisiana. But I watched one where this guy apparently cheated on his wife and got a side chick pregnant, and so they're in child support court, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a shit show if I ever seen one, DL. I didn't know that child support gauges how much you're going to pay based on how much you made, as opposed to how much based on how much you earned, as opposed to how much you make. For example, if your base salary is $90,000, but because of bonuses and overtime and things like that, you made $160,000. They're going to gauge your child support payment based on the $160,000 that you made that you brought in last year, and gross, not net.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, I see. The thing is, I didn't know. I didn't know that, and I was like, oh. Yeah, because of the overtime and because of the overtime and everything like that, this guy made like $157,000. Right,
yeah, you're getting wrecked, and it's a 12-month delay. So you're like, well, you know what I mean? Well, we'll wait till next year. We'll see what you made next year, and they don't adjust for that. They won't go back and give you credit.
No, they don't, because they got the money. That means that the state will have to give up some of that money too, and they're not doing that. They're not going to do that. So yeah, I didn't know that. It's. But this guy here, he brought it on himself. Like, really, you got married, you cheated on your wife, you're stupid, you got the side chick pregnant, dumb. You kind of brought it. It's messed up. It is. Like, you about to be raked across the coals, but I can't feel bad for you. Look what you did to yourself. You know what I mean? Guys like that, I can't feel bad for them. They do it to themselves.
Yeah, and it's not a dude out there that doesn't understand how the system works. So it is what it is. Like, even me, like, you won't hear me crying about it. Like, it is what it is. I put myself in it. Whatever.
But it ain't fair. But that doesn't change the fact that it's neither fair nor right.
Right. It's absolutely wrong. It goes against everything that, you talk about, like, truth, justice in the American way. Like, nah, bro, this is evil. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And, so if this is what feminism has become, then yeah, it's oppressive. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. I mean, if I were female, I probably would be like, if I were female, I'll be more like Miss AKA lady, trying to co-parent, trying to work it out, being grown up about it. I would like to believe that that's what I would do. But at the same time, you do have the Brittany Renners of the world who have no problem going out here just grabbing that money. You know what I mean? Take the bag and run with it. So
Yeah, but fellas, protect yourself at all times.
shout out to brother Hank.
Right. Because when I saw it for myself, I was like, oh, he's getting ready. He was getting ready to pay $1,300 a month for one child.
Yeah, bro.
Now
Come on now.
this guy had pay stubs and everything that shows that he brings in 3,500 about 3,500 every 2 weeks, right? So there's about $7,000 a month, right? He's gonna pay 13, but then he's got 9 people on his insurance he has to pay for. 9.
Yeah, 9 people in insurance, and a judge should come in there and say, "Well, mom's paying $1,000 or $1,200 a month in child care, so you can pay the other 600. We'll just make that 600, and make that an add-on."
Right. I was like, oh. Now, granted, the case got thrown out because the chick no longer lived in that county.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge said, "Okay, I'm throwing." When he found it out, he said, "Okay, I'm throwing it out. There will be no award. There'll be nothing." Right? He went on a list of there will not be this, there will not be that. So he's like, "Wait, could you repeat that? Why is that?" Well, because, ma'am, you now live in Houston. You have to file a whole nother lawsuit in Houston. Now, if she does do that, from what I hear, the way things are in Texas, but it's gonna get it worse.
Maybe it depends. You need to get you a real good attorney, but what you pay, you're gonna pay one way or the other.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down. So you're gonna pay one way or the other. Hey, y'all, I'm sorry that my it looks like my StreamYard is acting up, so I can't highlight the chats because it's not updating. I can show the ones from previous, like that one or that one, but they're not highlighting. So I'll just read off the live feed. Miss A.K. Ailey was saying, Erica's a great mom. I have followed her for years. This is the first time they posted something like this, so I can't step on her parenting. I wouldn't do it, but they've grown and both look good. MS, and then Matt 4 is like, bruh, she's old, let it go. Listen, Erica looks good, bro. I ain't gonna let nothing let go, man. I come across a woman my age looking like that, yeah, it's definitely gonna be holla, holla, holla. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, like that, she got body. And then, of course, her daughter, just, my God, is just younger and whatever. And then, of course, Brother Cody was giving a shout out to Brother Mandrell. Candace M, I've seen very young children being sexualized in these TikTok videos with their mothers right alongside them. Yes. And Sister Candace, have y'all seen that TikTok video when a woman was wearing a bikini, a thong bikini, and then she had her infant baby in the thong bikini? It was disgusting. Did you see that, Mandrell?
I did see that, man. I don't know what's wrong with people or why they think that junk's cute, but then they'll get mad if their daughter ends up being a stripper.
Right. She on the
No,
pole.
don't do that. Don't do that. Well, I mean, hey, if you don't want, I asked my cousin one time because I was like, because she has a daughter that's super well mannered, right? And now the kid's graduated college, graduated university, and all this kind of stuff. You know, she's going to do really good things, right? But I remember like she was just a child, and I was like, you know, how do you get her to be so well mannered? Like she's such a well mannered kid and well behaved. She said, if you don't want it to be cute at 16, it can't be cute at 3. I said, oh, got it. If you don't want it to be cute at 16, it can't be cute at 3. But you got mothers out there with their little children and dressing them up like thoughts. I hate to say it, but that's what do you think? What do you think they're gonna do when they get older? The formula doesn't change. The formula doesn't change.
Yeah, they want to keep getting the attention. That's what it boils down to. I'm gonna keep doing this to get the attention. If that means I gotta smash or do whatever, top somebody off, well, it is what it is. That's horrible.
Absolutely. You can't question where it comes from or why it's there later on. And people don't want to do that. They don't want to take the onus of their actions. You did it. You started it. Now, and if a kid wants to do that early in life, it's up to you to stop it and explain to them why. You have to explain to the kid why they shouldn't do that, and don't come with some nonsensical answer. You know what I'm saying? It has to be something real that they can understand. You know what I'm saying? I find that to be an issue too. Like people don't know how to talk to people in a way that's relevant. Like when I talk to people about some things, the first thing they do is bring out religion. I'm like, okay, but the thing is, there's no way to prove that. That's very personal. Religion is, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's called a personal relationship with God. He's not going to communicate with you the same way he communicates with anyone else on the planet. So of course everyone's going to understand it differently, but that's also something that brings about the suspicion of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that, It's too left to interpretation. But
It
at the
is.
same time, yeah. So that's no way to communicate with another person. You can't just leave. It has to be something tangible, something people can touch and relate to. A lot of parents these days don't do that with children, let alone adults.
I'm with you on that. I mean, it is again when you remove the men from the households, or you got guys in there who's been who just pushovers. This is what we get. I mean, it is what it is. Miss AKA lady at DL. If there were a cap and a custodial parent made too much to qualify for support, then should the non-custodial parent be forced to spend more time with the kid to even it out? No. My answer with that would be no. If the parent wants to be involved, remember, with the caps and all, I also advocate the default is 50-50 custody. So if you have a non-custodial, you have a custodial parent who makes a lot of money. You have a non-custodial parent who doesn't. Right? So let's say the mom is the one with the bread and she wants to force the dad out, and she knows there's no child support involved. So she's like, well, I'm just not gonna, I want to use my money to keep this man away from his child. It still should be a default 50-50 process. The money is not an issue because one of the parents is making a bunch of money. So it's 50-50. And then when the child is with dad, or the one who makes less money, there's still no money involved. You don't have to worry about child support. So you don't have to worry about caps or anything like that. But I mean, I get where you're coming from. It's just the whole system we got to just jack. There's no way you can force someone to be a parent. And
you can't force them. Yeah. But I think the option should be there. The option for visitation should be there, whether the father or mother wants it or not. The option to and I think that the mother, if on the days that they're supposed to have the kid, if the father, say that the kid lives with the mother, right? If it's the father's day to have that kid, no matter what the mother has going on, you must give it to that father. I think that's something that should be strictly enforced, because I see that a lot too, where I've seen mothers play that kind of game with their children, where it's supposed to be the guy's weekend to have him or her. And the mother, well, I already planned for him to do this. In my opinion, from my perspective, too fucking bad.
Yeah,
too fucking bad. Reschedule.
I forgot to tell you. We're PG with the monetization. I'm trying to figure out.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how that works. But yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Well, at least it wasn't within the first 6 seconds. That's one of the rules. You can't curse within the first 6 seconds.
Yeah, that rule is capped. Video. Bro, that rule is capped. If there are any, I'm starting to notice that, and this is why I'm doing it. And this will be another good test for that. If they find anything in there they don't like, anything at all.
And the thing is here's how that rule is not fair, nor right, in my opinion. It's because who's making that call as to what's right and what's wrong to say?
Well, it's Yahoo. I get you, but Yahoo. It's YouTube. They're doing the thing. It was fine. It was fine when all this started, but now they want to switch it over. It is what it is. But again, there's shows I do that I don't even try to get monetized for, because I know we're just gonna let loose. And this will be a good test show, because I'm seeing it. I'll get limited monetization on stuff because someone said 2 curse words, and the 2 hour stream. That's what I mean. It's changing. So it is changing. Like they're being dynamic with it. It's changing on the fly. And now here's the problem with this is that from the way I see it, YouTube is their own worst enemy. Whereas all it's going to take now is one solid company with a good platform, not even a good one, a halfway decent platform that's kind of like YouTube. And YouTube's Rumble. Out. Rumble. I was just about to mention Rumble. Rumble is on a roll, and they're getting a big name. So we'll see.
Rumble is on a roll, man. Like I was thinking about starting my YouTube channel, but when I look at Rumble and how many people are moving over to that, I'm like, that might be a better bet.
Yeah, I might have to jump on Rumble, man. Like, my dudes are over there. Like, Rumble's the move. We got brother JT in the house, man. What's good? Brother JT, we got the world class, man. Brother Noble out there. Brother Mark is my favorite. Devil Dogs out there. What's good, y'all? I'm sorry I can't highlight y'all chats, man. I'm gonna have to send in to StreamYard to find out what's going on. It's not updating on my end. real quick, we're gonna wrap this up in 15 minutes. Brother JT is here. Let's give Brother JT the floor and let him speak on this child support misappropriation thing, and then anything else you want to speak on.
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on, fellas?
What's
up,
going on, JT?
What's
going on, brother?
Not much, man. I just tuned in not too long ago, man. I was driving, bro, listening to your show. But yeah, I think they just need to go ahead and revamp this whole child support thing, bro. I think that's what needs to happen. Is that I mean, it's not going to get revamped. But what is happening right now is that they will be having. I heard a little bit about what you were saying as far as like the children taking the parents to court and things like that, because it's going to be a big discrepancy over this little bit of money that we're talking about as far as child support goes, of who's going to get what. It's going to be a little bit of money that they're going to be arguing over. It's not going to be a whole lot of money. A lot of this money is through time. You know what I'm saying? And it's not fair, even when you look at the men that actually get taken advantage of. Because I think somebody on either you or Mandrell was mentioned that it's based off of what you make, what you earn. I think that was Mandrell.
Yeah. It's based off what you earned in the previous year, not what you actually make. I didn't know that. I mean, because this guy had W-2s and stuff, JT, and it proved how much money he brings home, but it's not based on. But then the judge finally, actually flat out said it's not based on how much you make; it's based on what you earn. And I was like, whoa. So then they even mentioned the overtime and stuff and bonuses and stuff you may get. That's factored into the equation. And they treat that as if you're going to make that every year. And then the judge even said, I understand that you may not make this next year, but this is the way the math is done. And and there's nothing the guy could do about it.
So it's supposed to be, I know when you go to friend of the court, that it's supposed to be based off of both parents, custodian parent, and it's based off of.
They didn't put her money in it at all, JT.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be JT. They put the other parents' info in there, but the way the program runs, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's all based on a non-custodial. Because the thing, fellas, they didn't mention this chick's money at all.
So
at all, like not one time.
One of the reasons could be is that she's getting some type of assistance from the state. When they don't. And if she's below the poverty line, they're not going to use her pay. They're not going to calculate it. It's kind of like how they, it's based off of not only that, but it's based off of before taxes.
Bro, even if she makes $80,000 a year, man, it doesn't matter. If the guy's making $150,000 a year, it does not matter. And my attorney, when I first went through the process, this is in California, he kept saying you make too much money. I'm like, but she makes this, she makes that. He's like, nah, man, it doesn't matter. You can pull up any child support calculator for any state online right now. It doesn't even ask you about the other person. Non-custodial parent, how much does the non-custodial parent make? Right, that's all it asks. How many kids and what's the percentage breakdown? And it'll give you a number that's going to be within 5% of what the court will issue.
And they also give them the option to use that child support for, like, if they wanted to buy a car.
Yeah, they could do that because
as income,
right?
It's transportation.
It's transportation for the child. That's the way they factor it in, and I thought that was insane.
I mean, but they can also use it. They can also use it to get a house. They can also use it,
shelter for the child.
Right, but they don't have to use it for tax purposes. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
The whole system is crazy.
Man, it's so cold.
it's some cold-blooded stuff, man. So I'm gonna let we're gonna roll right into final thoughts. We're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna let Brother Mandrell start with the final thoughts. It is cold-blooded how they doing it.
Yeah, my final thoughts is, fellas, protect yourself at all times. Wrap that thing up, man, because it's a cold-blooded game out here. Cold-blooded, man. I mean, I didn't think it was like that. I knew it was bad. I knew it was unfair. I didn't know it was like that, though. Oh my God! I sat here and watched this guy, and they were getting ready to rake him over the coals, and there was, no matter what he said, no matter what his lawyer presented, he was going to get raked over the coals. There was nothing he could do about it. It was over for him. His pockets was done. So I was sitting there wondering, like, what's he going to do for a living himself? And nobody asked that question. Nobody asked that question. Nobody cared. So, fellas, watch yourselves. If you're gonna have, if you're gonna have sex with someone you don't know, cool, but don't be reckless with it. I hate condoms too, but I still strap up, man. You have to strap up. Yeah. All right, that's it.
That's what's up. Where can people find you, brother?
You can find me on Black Men Unfiltered Network. I have a show that I do. My sister, Shoo, she's my co-host. And you can find us on Wednesday nights at 8:30 Central Standard Time on the Black Men Unfiltered Network.
Who's the co-host? Who's the co-host?
Shoo.
Holla, 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 holla.
I got love for my sister. I just love doing it. I got love for my sister.
No problem.
So yeah, we'll definitely see you there, man. Thanks for always coming through, brother. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna holler at you, bro. Brother JT, what are your final thoughts, man? I know you jumped on last, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to get your final thoughts in.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not telling the guys to do nothing. They see what's happening. So if you want to keep on being a victim to your own circumstances, then be my guest. The only way that the course is definitely going to be able to change is that we as citizens, we have to start petitioning the courts ourselves. We have to actually start getting involved and seeing, that is unfair. It's unfair to families. Period. It's unfair to families, period. And it's going to get worse. It's not going to stay the same. It's going to get worse if we don't get involved. If you don't have, and I'm talking actually to the younger folks that's out there still trying to have children. If you still out here and you want to have a family, you got to stop doing all these undiscretion sexual acts then, man. You can't be out here just giving your seed to anybody. And you won't be a victim of your own circumstances, because right now is at that point now where it's like, I mean, I can't feel sorry for you. It is what it is. You see what's happening. If we tell you don't go down that hole down there where them holes are at, and you still pointing and saying, you talk about them holes right there, and you still jumping them holes, all right, man, it's on you. I'm not going to be sitting here hollering and screaming for it no more. I'm done with that whole situation anyway. So, I'd rather just talk about it in a just in a standpoint where if they catch on to what we talking about, man, and they say, okay, I'm gonna change my life, because that's basically what it is changing your life. You either change your life or they're gonna change it for you.
There you go. Real talk, man. Where can the people find you, man? What We Know Podcast, JT.
Absolutely. You can find me, my boy Rob, at What We Know Podcast. This Thursday we'll be doing the show. We got some big things coming up. Also, you can actually, if you want to, I have a pretty much an educational show channel called Let Me Expound. I'm gonna start actually coming on a lot of these platforms with that, but that is a channel where it basically talks about multi-million dollar companies and how they got started. Places like Amazon, Home Depot. I got a video that's about to come out about Tesla, Jeff Bezos, whole hookup. I mean, that's basically what that channel was for. It's basically an informational channel, and that's where you can find me at.
That's what's up, man. You better take it old school. Tell them about that Ray Kroc. You know what I'm saying? How that multi-billion-dollar company got going. We talking about McDonald's, man. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? That's good, man. So there it is right there. Thanks again, bro. I appreciate that, man. That's coming through, man. And yeah, man, I'm gonna holler at you later, man. I'll probably see you over there, black man.
Okay, most definitely.
All right, peace. And yeah, man, my final thoughts on this is, yeah, we absolutely need to do something about it. There should be accountability. Misappropriation of child support funds should in fact be a crime. That's just how I look at it. Miss AK has some excellent points. We got Brother Colonel Sanders in the house. What's good, man? Good to see you. Glad you're here, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. You know what I mean? My real nephew up in this joint, man. We taking Tampa by storm. Just getting things going, meeting up with some cool folks down here in Tampa. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all gonna hear some big things coming out of Tampa, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it is. Again, y'all, I apologize for not being able to highlight the chats. I'm gonna have to figure out what just went wrong with StreamYard. I have to text them and get that fixed. Probably just have to reset it. And but yeah, I really appreciate y'all coming through. I think it's another good show. Not sure what we're gonna have tomorrow. Be looking for some shorts. I'm definitely gonna do a couple shorts. Tomorrow we'll probably be talking about these shootings going on the West Coast. That kind of looks crazy. We might have to talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Be looking for the thumbnails. I'll make up my mind tonight, and I'll make some thumbnails and put them up. As always, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Miss AKA Lady, thank you so much for the super chat. Brother Michael, thank you so much for the super chick sticker. We making it happen, man. We're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna keep it pushing. Friday, we'll do a Family Friday early, but then I'm only gonna be doing shorts through the weekend. Again, I'll be in Miami, so who knows? Y'all might see me on a boat. Who knows what y'all might see? But I'm definitely gonna have the camera out, shooting what I can, get what I can, and keeping everybody updated to what's going on in DL Saints world. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out, hanging out, and sharing your time with me, man. I'm DL Saint. This is DL Saint. I really want to know podcast, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.
Darn, that's the end.